Hello and welcome to National Park Wild. I'm Eric, and I don't know about you, but there are a few things I love more in a national park than hiking. So today, I will be talking about the top 10 national park trails I have done. Before we begin, please subscribe to the channel so you know when new national park content comes out. I have plenty more on the way, and now the other thing I want to point out is this is entirely based on my experience and my preferences, and I have not been on every national park trail. No one has. And this is just my 10 favorites. Let's begin. Number 10 is Queen's Garden in Bryce Canyon National Park in Utah. I feel this is just one of the best because you walk into the Bryce Amphitheater. It's similar to a walk into the Grand Canyon. You have stunning rock spires all around you, and the Queen Victoria looking statue, as they call it at the end, which is just a rock spire that has quite an interesting shape, is definitely something to marvel at. Not too much else to say on this one, because it is similar to other trails I will discuss later, but I do love this one for its fantastic scenery, expansive views, and the fact that you go into a canyon. Number 9 is Lassen Peak at Lassen Volcanic National Park in California. This is just one of the best mountain hikes I've ever done. It's about 5 miles round trip, and it's one that I don't think is too strenuous, and certainly an enjoyable one. You climb to a pretty high peak, near the bottom of the Cascade Range, and if you get a clear day, you can see all the way to Mount Shasta. And on this trail, I actually saw some wildlife such as a pika, and a few smaller animals and some birds. Panoramic views of cinder cone and other geothermal features, stunning mountain scenery all around, expansive views. It's certainly a hard trail to beat, and I think Lassen Volcanic has some of the best hiking of any national park, and Lassen Peak is the best hike of the ones there. Number 8 is Mist Trail at Yosemite National Park in California. Keep in mind I have not done Half Dome to this day, so this is based on leading up to Nevada Falls. And even without Half Dome, this is an unbelievable trail. Both waterfalls, Vernal and Nevada, are stellar, and on the way up, you will pass through them, on top of them, around them. It's unreal. One of the most fantastic and otherworldly waterfalls in the world, in my opinion, Vernal Falls is. And I love the surrounding granite peaks, of course, and I've done this trail at sunset before, and that is just beautiful. Being able to see bats because of how long it took us to finish the trail is also a very memorable sight. And this is definitely my favorite trail so far in Yosemite, and there is some incredible competition there. Number 7 is Delicate Arch at Arches National Park in Utah. Arches National Park is a well-known one, and I think Delicate Arch is one of the most well-known sites in the National Park Service. And for good reason. It is fantastic. This freestanding arch with a fantastic background, so many colors. If you go at sunset like we did, you get so many purples, reds, oranges. It's unbelievable. And you also have some phenomenal surrounding scenery. The only gripe I have with this one possibly is the fact that there can be crowds at the end of the trail, but even leading up to it, you get stunning views, and the trail is designed to be quite an interesting challenge. Not necessarily the most difficult trail, but one that's unique, and I love that. Number 6 is Chesler Park in Canyonlands National Park, also in Utah. This trail is in the Needles area of the park, and most people only go to the Island in the Sky district, and of course that is a beautiful area. But Needles for me is much more impressive, and the hike here is simply fantastic. There are so many words I can use to describe it, but you are beneath thousands of rocky spires of different colors, oranges and yellows. There are so many. They're so vast, and you find yourself going through all sorts of different terrains, different levels of elevation, so many changes. The trail is such a fun one, but also one where the scenery is mind-blowing. Number 5, Bright Angel Trail at Grand Canyon National Park. A famous one, this one goes into the canyon. And this trail, I think, scenery-wise, is one of the best. You're walking into the Grand Canyon, and you can really see changes as you get further in. And going all the way to Plateau Point is such a special view as you see the Colorado River, and you are closer than you are by a long shot if you're at the top. One thing I will say is that this trail is pretty good for somebody who's trying to get a start on the more strenuous ones. Every 1.5 miles or so there is water, and there's just a lot of good accessibility. Make sure you try to start this one early in the morning, that way you won't have to worry too much about heat. One of the highlights in this trail for me was seeing a California condor. That was just special for me. I absolutely loved that. And overall, Bright Angel Trail could have easily been number one on this list. Grand Canyon National Park in Arizona is one of the best, but there are just 4 other trails I love even more. Number 4 is Tanalian Mountain at Lake Clark National Park in Alaska. This is pretty much the only major hiking trail at Lake Clark National Park, but it is one of the best. A mountainous one that goes past creeks and some flat brush areas where you may see wildlife. We personally did not, but then you get to the mountainous areas. Once you get to a certain vista point, you can see Lake Clark itself, along with several mountains all around, several colors, but the most important part is climbing the peak. This is probably the scariest and most dangerous hike I've done, because this part is loose rock, a very narrow crest of that mountain, and I definitely was afraid at many points. But getting to the top was worth it, as you can see pure white mountains, along with plenty of others of all sorts of dark colors, and I think mountain scenery is the best in the world, and Lake Clark has some fantastic mountains. So being able to see that, and the majestic scenery of Lake Clark National Park as a whole, I think Tanalian Mountain is definitely one of the best hikes. Number 3 is Angel's Landing. This is among the first major hikes I've ever done, so I have some sentimental value here. But getting to Angel's Landing, seeing the otherworldly Zion Canyon, with lush greenery down below, and seemingly endless orange canyon walls going beyond that view is fantastic. This trail has many switchbacks, and you have the chain section, which is definitely something that is for the adventurous, and something I was quite afraid of when I first did it, but I loved it. I really want to go back to Zion and do this trail again, and maybe go all the way to Observation Point. Angel's Landing is definitely a top trail, and there is a reason why so many people want to do this trail. Number 2 is Lost Mine Trail at Big Bend National Park in Texas. This trail I'm sure few have heard of because it's not one that a load of people do, because Big Bend is a relatively obscure park. However, I think it might have the best desert scenery of any hike I've done. You go past several mountains of shapes that you will not see anywhere else in the United States. I did this trail very early in the morning, so I got to see a sunrise, and that is one of the most breathtaking views I've ever had. On a clear day, you can get expansive views all the way to Santa Elena Canyon, and you will see so many different unique flora and fauna. On this trail, actually, we saw a black bear. And this wildlife setting was interesting, because we were at the end of the trail, and we saw another rock that went further up and you can get a good vantage point. So we went to the top of this trail, and where we had just been seconds before, a black bear was walking. We had not seen it approaching before then, so this was a very interesting sight, and I think that was my favorite wildlife sightings ever. So getting to see a black bear, along with unique mountain scenery, being in a sort of basin in the middle of these incredible mountains, just surrounded by scenery, that is special, and definitely makes one of the best national park hikes I've ever done. But number 1 had to be Highline Trail at Glacier National Park in Montana. Glacier is one of the best national parks. It's my 3rd favorite out of all the ones I've been to, and Highline Trail is a main reason for that. Being able to do most of the Highline Loop, though not all of it due to some snow and not being in or late enough in the year, I have seen a lot of glaciers, lakes, mountains. There is so much to see at Highline Trail. Being able to see Lake McDonald, a very accessible area, from way above, is special. Grinnell Glacier Overlook is a fantastic view, and we got to see a rainbow because of the poor weather. So that's the kind of thing where it was a blessing in disguise. That was fantastic. There's also plenty of wildlife on this trail. I think it's very likely you will see deer and marmots. And also likely you'll see mountain goats, though we did not see them on this particular trail. I feel that Highline Trail is one that's special because you are at the ridge of a mountain. You are looking down into a valley, but you're also looking up to see more snow-covered peaks. This is just something special because it's a mix of being at the bottom like you would at Zion, or at the top like you would Grand Canyon, but with mountain scenery. Being able to be above a golden eagle flying through the air, far above the ground, was something that really put in perspective how amazing Highline Trail is. It is indeed a high line, and you are high up, and you are seeing some of the best mountains in the world. Staying here for sunset gives you great views. Being there on a clear day or a cloudy day, it doesn't matter, any weather, these mountains are fantastic. Amazing park, amazing trail, and Highline Trail, especially if you say Granite Park Chalet as well, I think is the best hike of any national park I've been to. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Comment down below some of your favorite trails and any other suggestions you have for future videos. Subscribe to the channel for more content. I'll see you next time.